So welcome everybody. Welcome to this live webinar, Manifesting Money Without the Hustle. Today I'm going to share with you a graceful and revolutionary approach to really manifesting money and having a whole new relationship to money that is not based on you changing your mindset first, is not based on you working longer hours, and is not based on you, reading the right books, saying the right affirmations, and removing these so-called money blocks. So much of what I see out there, ladies, so much of the industry is pointing to this idea or this direction that you have got money problems because of blocks. I think it was on Instagram yesterday. I was scrolling and I saw remove your 24 blocks and then you will make money. What I'm going to share with you today, and what I love to share with my clients all along, is so much more truthful and graceful compared to what this wave of thought is out there that is, in my opinion, perpetuating people's problems around money, perpetuating this idea that that there's something wrong with you. So I'm going to share something really helpful today. I'm going to give you a bit of my own personal story around money. For those of you that think that I have a millionaire husband and don't have any money problems, you're going to hear the truth of the matter in this story that I share today. And I'm really interested in helping you with your specific situation. So as we go along, I do want you to listen, because when you listen, you hear more deeply. And when you hear more deeply, you're subject to having an insight. And my coaching is always based on insight and impact. It is not based on information. That's not coaching. It is based on insight. And when you have an insight, your world changes. I don't know when that's going to happen for you, but I have had numerous emails from women who tell me that when they're listening to me, either in a coaching session, on a webinar, or in some sort of speaking arrangement, they get fresh thinking, they get insight, they see something new. It's hard to do that if you're taking notes consistently. So I encourage you to take your notes on the replay when I send you the replay, and rather just kind of sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation together. And if a question does come to you, or you're spinning on something specific, do go ahead and write that in the question box, or write it on a piece of paper, because I'm going to open up the floor to your questions to help you. This is a live coaching experience today. So I encourage you to take advantage of really getting that coaching support. Most of my clients are paying in the region of £330 an hour to get coaching from me. So, this is an opportunity for you right now to get coaching for free on this particular webinar and this particular experience. So I'm going to do that as well today. And finally, towards the end of this call, or before I take your questions, I am going to present you with an opportunity, a beautiful invitation that is a new opportunity to join me. So I'm going to share that with you towards the end of the call. Okay, so let's get started, ladies. It is great to see you all here. Mandy, fabulous to see you too. So I want to start today with, a little bit more about why I'm bringing this subject forward. So many of my clients have been asking me to talk about money for so long, because a lot of the coaching I do with women is based on helping them really get beyond their insecurities around this, so that they can manifest more easily, so that they can leave their jobs and start their business, and in their business, if they're already on that step, so that they can have a much more graceful experience in bringing money in, and in finding clientele, in sharing their message. So it occurred to me over time that, you know, a lot of my coaching calls are centered on this topic, and with the encouragement of my clients, they really wanted me to come forth and share this, because they told me that what they got from me was far more transformative and helpful compared to what they thought they had to go through in order to start manifesting money more easily. So sometimes you don't see it for yourself. You know, sometimes life invites you to come to the table with something different. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm coming to the table with what I see as a very important subject for all of us, but a subject that, as I understand it, is bogged down with this idea, this wave of thought that you have a million things to fix in yourself before you could ever possibly, you know, manifest money, leave your job, make more money, have a different relationship with money. And, you know, the people that are bombarding me with that message, that's very innocent on their part, because it looks to me like a lot of people truly believe that, you know, that there is something fundamentally wrong with them. That, you know, I mean, I've been through everything from hearing that I have a cultural problem because I'm Irish and my people suffered the famine, so that means I have to fix that. I've also heard that I you know, because I'm a former bulimic, that's going to play out in my money life as well. I live in an environment that is not focused on money. I can't be successful. So I have heard a whole of things that I should be very concerned about where my relationship with money is concerned. And very innocently at the time, because I believed those experts, you know, and because they deeply believe that too, I kind of went down the rabbit hole of needing to fix my money thing. And what I found in that journey, ladies, is I found that I just spent a lot of money and time, and coaching time in particular with my mentors, on fixing something that was an ever-eluding, no, let me say that better, on fixing something that was an ever-changing target, an ever-moving target. So it looked to me like I would get a little bit of progress, and then the money would still be away, or the money would still move away, and then we would come up with another reason, another problem that needed addressed. So money for me in the early days seemed to be always out there. Can you relate to that? Because I know a lot of my clients that come to me, you know, money is out there for them. It's not here. I had a lovely lady on the phone the other day, and she said to me, well, you know, Grace, you know, I'm on this bench here as I talk to you, and I've had this great wave of clients lately, and it's really come in, it's really happening, but I'm so worried about next month, because I can see the money starting to run out, and I can see that next month is around the corner, and I have bills looming, and I have this looming and that looming. And I said to her, you know, what's the difference between the bench you're sitting on and money? And she began to describe to me very innocently, well, you know, the bench is already here. The bench is, I can see the bench. The bench has been provided for me. The bench is solid. But I was very curious as to what she saw as the difference between the bench and money, because in my world, there's no difference. Like the bench, she can see the bench. She didn't have to go and get the bench. when she sits on the bench, she's taken care of. She's not thinking to herself, oh my God, is this bench going to be here next month? Am I going to fall off this bench? Is this bench going to run out of wood like while I sit here? And yet, very innocently, this is what so many people are doing with money. This is their experience of money. It's like they can't trust it because they can't see it. But on today's call, you're not going to make $1 million. I'm going to tell you that up front, okay? Not going to promise you $1 million, but you're going to see the truth of this thing called money. And you're also going to see where the source of your stress about money is coming from, because I can promise you it's not coming from the money. Okay, so I'm going to share with you as best I can, and bear with me because I might go into metaphors, client examples, analogies, and my own story. But just, if you start to feel calmer about this subject, or if you start to feel hopeful, or if you start to see or hear opportunity or possibility, you're plugged into the mains. You got it. Okay, and that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. Denise is saying, if it's not $1 million, I'm off. Okay, Denise, there are 1 million coaches out there that can promise you $1 million. I can help you manifest and make it more easily. And if your target is $1 million, let's go for it. But I am not going to pretend that on this particular webinar that is what you're going to do. Okay. What we're going to do in this webinar is really, ladies, help you really open up to the wisdom and resiliency within you around this subject, in which and through which you can go off and make your $1 million. One of the things I've seen from working with millionaire coaches and mentors is that they all accessed their wisdom. They all got an idea that led them to the 7 figures and beyond, that led them to the higher ground. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that access to a quieter mind filled with wisdom, where that wisdom, if you're looking in that direction of money, where that wisdom will bring you the way forward. And I think there's something so hopeful about that. Because see, we all have access to the same genius that Einstein accessed. We all have access to the same wisdom and genius that the people we admire had access to. And so for me, the only difference between those incredible people in the world is, and you sitting where you are right now, is that they got out of their own habitual, insecure, self-concerned thoughts to hear deeply enough an idea. And they ran with the idea, they implemented the idea, they shared the idea, they brought the idea to the world. And how often have you had an incredible idea that landed, but you maybe didn't act on? And then later you're wondering why your life isn't working out, or your money isn't flowing, or whatever. And that's innocent. I really want you to hear that, ladies. That is innocent in you. Because when you are so habituated to the insecure thoughts, and particularly the thoughts that are scaring you about money or anything else, you become paralyzed. My job is to help you get immobilized, is to help you mobilize again, okay? It's to help you move forward. Because when you are stuck in that paralyzed state, listening intently to those scary stories, it's very hard to see flow. It's very hard to open up to flow. And so because today is all about manifesting more easily, it's important that we first start with that beautiful possibility that the people you admire in the world, Okay, the people that look like they're out there manifesting more easily, you know, they've accessed this wisdom that has given them the direction, and they've acted on it. Now, it doesn't mean they didn't get help from other people, but it just goes back to really pointing to this beautiful energy that is the same energy that turns acorns into oak trees and embryos into babies without you or I doing anything about it. It's the same energy that's beating your heart right now. It's the same energy that's running through money. This energy is in you. This energy is you. And, you know, it comes up with creative solutions. It comes up with correct direction for any problem, not just a financial problem, for any problem, okay? And, you know, straight up, the less you're focused on trying to fix a money story, trying to get money, trying to come up or figure out ideas that will solve your financial issue, the less your mind is over there on that spin, the more it's over here accessing creative solutions. You know, I recall being in Sydney years ago. On the other side of the world I was. And I'd taken myself off to Sydney because it really looked to me like I needed to get away from my partner and Italy and my daily environment in order to be okay. And it was my first year or two in business, and I doing very well. Money coming in, money flowing in, money available. And so I always was a fan of using the money I had. So I used my money, and I didn't think about, well, if I get to Sydney, am I going to be okay? I simply followed that call within that was like, let's go here and see what develops. So I took myself off to Sydney, and at some point, the money started running when I was there. And I really didn't want to come home. Right? Like, I wasn't ready to come home. I was having a great time. You know, my mind had settled down. My thinking had fallen down away a bit, and my well-being was rising back up. But this lack of income coming in was starting to scare me, because I was like, hold on a minute, I'm on the other side of the world, and what do I do? I don't want to phone home. What am I going to say? And they're going to tell me, well, you shouldn't be out there, and what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. So as the days started running into weeks, my mind started running too. And at that time in my journey, it really looked like a good idea to me to listen intently to my scary thinking about the future. And the best I could do was be in a panic, be less than graceful, and go to the coffee bar every day and read the book for as long as I could, like the Science of Getting Rich and Think and Grow Rich. So it really looked to me like, if I just absorb enough of this information, then somehow my stress about money is going to go away. Well, that wasn't true. Because I sat in those coffee bars feeling very stressed, feeling very nervous. And I remember I was so stressed with money that I couldn't even eat. And I'm an eater, you all know that. But I was so stressed that I couldn't even enjoy the food. Life was so not enjoyable. I was waking up in the night, and I was so concerned. And that experience was horrible. It was so debilitating. My well-being took a hit. My ability to navigate each day became less than enjoyable. My whole reason for being there was to feel well and to enjoy myself, and all of that was, it was going. I recall, deciding to do a particular, I don't know, it must have been like a sales thing or a webinar thing, something in my business. And I really don't know how I was functioning, but I decided to do it. And I recall the night before getting on my knees. I've never done this, ladies. I fell to my knees, begging God to save me. My experience of that was so palpable and so life or death. And for a long time, it looked to me like that's what you had to do in order to manifest money. For a long time, it looked to me like you had to hit rock bottom. You had to be on your knees before, God, wisdom, the universe will come through. Now, roll on a number of years, right? That was my experience then, when I didn't understand that my stress and my experience of money and my experience in general was being created through my thinking to thinking in the moment. And my thinking to thinking in those moments back then was extremely insecure and extremely stressful. Okay? Roll on a number of years, and I've gone on this other journey, and I've done this inner work, and I've really started to understand this relationship between thoughts and feelings. And I find myself on the other side of the world, I'm in California this time, right? I'm still using my money, I'm still using it, still believe in using money when you've got it. I've used my money to go to California, and I'm in this apartment, and I get, I know my income it's not flowing. So I'm thinking to myself, well, what happens now? And I get an email from the bank. This is one of my worst nightmares at the time. To get an email from your bank manager or your bank, we want to speak with you. Can you call us? And this was something that would have caused me huge heart palpitations in the past. But I noticed, A, I wasn't freaking out. B, it was basically the same experience as Sydney. I was on the other side of the world. I had no real income coming in, no sign of land. I was at the point where I really should have been on my knees. But I was very calm. I was very relaxed. And it kind of spooked me, because I remember saying to myself, well, Grace, shouldn't you be worried? Shouldn't you just get your books out, go back to what you know works? Get your, fix your mindset, get your books out, come up with something. Come up with something. But the difference this time, ladies, is I could hear myself shouting all that crap. I could hear little Grace screaming so loud anymore. And she was kind of like I described to my clients. She was kind of like Bob the drunk guy on the side of the street. So let me share that with you if you don't know that. Every town has a drunk somewhere. Here where I am, there's a crazy man. He stands on the side of the street. And when you walk past him, he screams obscenities. Now, I don't really know what he's saying because it's so muddled. But I know they're obscenities, and I know they're not helpful. And we have this in our head. We have little Pamela, little Denise, little Diane, little Andrea. We have little Bobs shouting obscenities and shouting really unhelpful information. The problem is most of us go to Bob for coaching. We go over to Bob in our head and we say, Bob, what do you think I should do? Tell me what I should do, Bob. What should I do about this? And that's what I was doing in Sydney. I was listening to Bob, and I was going to Bob for help. This time in California, Bob, or little Grace, did not sound so intriguing to me. She'd lost her grip. I suddenly realized that noise is not helpful information. And that was a lot of inner work. That was a journey to get to that point. But when I finally have got to that point, my life has never been the same. My relationship to money has completely changed. Okay? Because instead of me listening to Bob, instead of me freaking out, I simply responded to the bank as best I could, and I said, I'll give you a call tomorrow. And I got on with my day. And I considered, you know, what could I do to save the day? And I didn't get into fretting about it and trying to find a solution. Rather, I got on with my day, knowing deeply within that I'd know what to do. I'd be okay. Now, this is huge, ladies. I really want you to hear this because it might sound very simple, but any financial obstacle I have ever come up against since, I've found solution for from a calm, centered, resilient, wisdom-filled place. Me freak out all the time about money, and they're so concerned about money. And to me, it just doesn't have the same grip anymore because of what I've seen in this area. And so in that situation in California, what came to me was beautiful. It didn't even involve me needing to go and do something. It very effortlessly flew into my inbox right on time, and someone had gotten in touch and said that they had heard about me from someone else and would I be available to speak like immediately. Now, of course I said yes. Of course I didn't sit back and say, oh no, I can't do that. I'm not the person for you. I recognized, oh, here we go, possible solution. Let's see if what happens here, if I can help. And lo and behold, I was able to come to an agreement with that person and help her. And I was able to call the bank and tell them, you know, you stop freaking out. The money will be with you and it will be there by such and such a date. Like even the bank manager was freaking out, and he was kind of mesmerized, I remember, by my calm. You know, he was freaking and I should have been the other way around, right? This is what's on offer when you really stop looking in the direction of the problem and you start feeling weightless in this area called money. I felt weightless, and yet this is a heavy chain for so many people. And it's not to say that I can't connect with that heaviness. It's not that I don't get caught up at times. I do. But that journey of going from heavy and stressed and insecure and not sleeping at night and wondering how I was going to pay for things. And this was all happening to me, who was a successful coach making multiple six figures, which was another reason that I also was able to say, hey, my experience of money has nothing to do with money. Because some of the times that I had huge amounts of money were some of the times that I felt the most. And how many of you have that experience, right? Where you're afraid to take your foot off the gas. That was me. I was so afraid to take my foot off the gas. And in fact, all the experts around me kept saying, don't take your foot off the gas, whatever you do. But and I had to see a new way. Okay. And so my experience of money today, I understand it's different. I also know that it can be different for all of you through that same journey that I have been through. I'm not the exception to the rule. And I encourage you to start with this one step, which is stop looking over there at what you think is wrong with you, at your so-called money story, at your 24 blocks you need to remove. Stop looking in the direction of the problem, because it is perpetuating the problem. When we get out of our own way, and I'm here to help you with that, when we get out of our own way, when we live our day like I did in California, and we're not stuck in a million kind of, oh my God, how do we figure this out? And we're not holding guns and his obscenities. We access that energy within us that has the solution, and or we see an opportunity that life invites us to. Like, I didn't even have to access my own wisdom in California. Life invited me to the solution. But I could never have seen that invitation if I had been running around, stuffing my head with begging prayers to God, and there's no offense intended here, ladies, but what I have seen is that when we're filling our head with positive thinking and we're filling our head with begging God prayers, we're filling our head, full stop. We are not accessing wisdom. We're filling our head. And I don't care if you fill your head with prayer or you fill your head with insecurity, you're still filling your head. For those of you worried about the prayer bit, what I have noticed is when I am not holding a gun to my head, when I am not falling for Bob's obscenities, my prayer becomes thank you. My prayer is thankful and quiet in nature. It is not filled with insecure begging. And this is like this wisdom in you, this resilience that bubbles up inside of you is what moves the needle forward. It brings you the creative solutions, and or life rushes in to invite you to the solution. And life can't rush in to invite you to your solution financially if your mind is so filled and your day is so filled with trying to figure out the solution. So I really saw in my journey, wow, what a difference to be on opposite sides of the world with the same problem, but with a completely new experience of the problem. You know, having gone through this inner work, coming to this place where money was like the bench. You know, it had lost its seriousness. It had lost its grip. It was another area where I was willing to see wisdom come through, rather than an area that I felt eluded me and was out there that I had to go and get, or an area I had to fix my mindset on before I could get. So I hope this is hopeful for those of you that are hearing it. Like I hope there's hope in this for you too, because I'm not the exception. My clients are having this experience too. You know, many of my clients don't come to me based solely to address the money piece, but it's really interesting to me that the thing that shifts first for them is in this area. The thing that seems to lose its weight and heavy chain around the neck feeling is the thing that becomes weightless, is the thing that they feel more free about. About feeling weightless in this area for those of you who are a subject, because if it's not, you know, I'm never going to move my ass to do anything. I challenge that. I challenge that in you. For so long, you know, I was afraid too. Money was a serious subject. I wouldn't even open my bank statements when they came in. I didn't want to look. I was in so much insecurity, and I had loads of money. You know, I still have a flow of money and income, but I open my bank statements today because it's common sense. And when we're not afraid and lost in insecure thought, guess what? We get out of avoidance and we get into doing things that make sense, like opening our bank statements, taking action on a program to create or to sell, you know, paying our bills on time. You know, like our common sense comes to the forefront. So you never need to be afraid that you get becoming weightless in this area of money will somehow make you inactive or whatever. Somehow leave you, you know, sitting on the couch all day drinking margaritas and not giving a damn about your finances. See, there's a difference, ladies, between being too careful because we're insecure and being careless because we're exhausted. I'm helping you with the middle ground here, okay? Caring, not too careful, not careless, but caring about your experience with money, about what occurs for you around this subject. From this approach day to day, I'm not using a process to get me there, okay? Okay. Hi, ladies. Can you hear me? You can just write me a message in the box. Okay, cool. We're still here. Fabulous. Okay. Great. Okay. So I don't know where you lost me, but I'll just reiterate that I'm living from this approach by step to get you to feel weightless around money. This is a natural experience for all of you as you really start to, you know, get beyond the insecurities. And that's really what's on offer. You know, that's really what's on offer as you live from that more graceful approach. It doesn't involve hours of visualizing and working harder. It doesn't require you to feel serious about money in order to make money. It doesn't require you to spend your days meditating and visualizing and even getting clear on what you want. This approach, it's tapping you in and tuning you in and plugging you back into the mains where this subject is concerned. Because so many people I meet are just, you know, their experience of money is one of stress and insecurity, and they seem to have lost their way. You know, this approach is where you get to feel okay regardless of what's in your bank account. Now, here's the beauty of that. From that place of calm, from that place of grace, I call it, with, you know, that place of grace within you, you simply radiate, in my opinion. I don't know how it works. It's a spiritual phenomenon, but you radiate and magnetize to you more of what you want. And I don't quite know how that works, but I do know that when you're in stress and insecurity and fear, and you're really listening to Bob in your head, and that's your day-to-day experience of money, you will find that money is always out there. And what my clients tell me is that from this graceful approach, from this space that we tap into, that it somehow draws to them, to all of us, these opportunities, these possibilities, and within us, our mind is fresh for insight and wisdom for creative solutions. That is why I always say to people, you know, my coaching is not about giving you tools and techniques, although sometimes I have to do that because many of you are business owners, so you need some practical pieces like that. But my approach is in helping you awaken resiliency, awaken wisdom, awaken creative solutions, and to own that for yourself. Because when you own that for yourself, your world changes. You're not dependent on techniques. You're not even dependent on coaching to get you there. And so I'm always interested in pointing you back to that piece inside of you. Okay? And when you're there, you see, you discern more easily when you're spending from a place of insecurity or you're spending from a place of wisdom. My clients tell me that their spending habits really change when we do this work together. One of my dear clients wrote me last week and she said, Grace, I just realized something huge. And she said to me, I realized that all of my expenditure in the past has been on health products, training, alcohol, all in an effort to feel okay and be less insecure around this subject. Now that's a game changer, because now that she sees that, and now that she also is waking up this resiliency inside of her, she doesn't need to go spending like that. In fact, she told me that she just put the books down and put the trainings away, and she's living her life. She's not the only one to tell me that, right? I had a client on the other day. She said, Grace, I've got 9 books in front of me. Which one should I read? And when we really got to the bottom of it, it really looked to her very innocently like she needed to improve her mindset about that particular subject before she could be okay. Lo and behold, by the end of our coaching call, she was putting those 9 books away, realizing something much deeper, something that shifted from within her, okay? And that's what I'm here for, where my coaching is concerned with you. I'm here to help you get that inner shift, because that inner shift runs deeper than you simply thinking a different thought. Like, that's what happened for me. It was a journey. That inner shift, like, it emerged over time in looking in this direction, waking up this resiliency and waking up this wisdom and getting behind. And I will share with you a way that we can do that together, a new way that we can do that together. But you see, your wisdom wakes up where spending is concerned and where money is concerned, because it has to. It just does. You know, it's like you switch driving seats. You may have been in the driving seat of insecurity your whole life in this area. But once this graceful approach is you're immersed in this, you switch driving seats, really. Okay? Your wisdom takes the driver's seat. Your common sense takes over. And you find that you clean up your relationship around money. And that might mean, you know, that your spending does change. You know, behavior changes. You know, behavior changes as our operating system changes. Your behavior around money, around alcohol, around shopping, around food, around, you know, relationships. Everything out there changes as wisdom takes the driver's seat. And it's very innocent if your wisdom hasn't been in the driver's seat full time, and you find that actually Bob, the drunk guy, or, you know, the insecure part of yourself has been in the driver's seat for much of your life. I'm here to help you get wisdom back in center. I'm here to help you get the correct driver in the driver's seat so that you can be manifesting the money more easily, and more than anything, so you can be having a new experience of money. Manifesting $1 million, manifesting whatever it is you're going after, is a byproduct of you no longer living in an experience of stress around this subject. And that's what I'm here to help you with. That's what this course I'm offering is going to be about. It's a group coaching program. I'll share it with you now, and then I'll open up to questions. It's a group coaching program. It's to take you on this journey with me. It's to help you get that inner shift, to awaken that resiliency, to awaken that wisdom where money is concerned, and most of all, to help inside out so that you can get on with manifesting it easily, not being lost in stress and freak out about money, and come up with creative solutions where financial problems or your business or your relationship, whatever, is concerned. So if money has been a constant source of stress for you and you'd love to feel weightless in this area, if you'd love to go into that feeling that I have shared with you today in my personal journey, I invite you to come on this journey with me for 6 weeks, where we'll do a group coaching for a maximum of 8 women. And we will do this coaching weekly. And each week you will get coaching from me on, you know, your specific situation. Now, obviously, I will set the table with key insights around money that will change your relationship to money, as it did mine. And I will open up to your coaching and what you need for your specific situation. So if this speaks to you, I encourage you to book now, because there are only 8 spaces. We are going to start in September. And if you're booking now, you will also get a coaching call with me between now and our start date. So you'll get an actual one-to-one with me before we start. The price of this program is £300. So we've not made it hugely expensive. We know that you're potentially freaking out about money, but we also know that you have it within you to access £300, which I believe translates to about $420. I can't be sure. Go look it up now if you're keen. I'm offering a one-to-one powerful specific coaching session for you. Now, many of the women on this call have been through those coaching sessions with me. In fact, to usually receive one of those coaching sessions, you're looking at £330 alone. So you're getting this coaching session, and you're getting 6 weeks of incredible group coaching with a maximum of 8 soul sisters. So there's a lot on offer here today, ladies. If you know this is for you, private message me at gmail.com and just say I'm in, and I will invoice you via PayPal today. This one is pretty easy to go by. And remember, if you're booking now, I'll keep the one-to-one session open. That will be available from now through Monday, August 5th. So for 7 days, that bonus is available. Okay, so I look forward to really doing this with you every week more deeply, ladies. I think this is going to be an incredibly transformative experience for those of you that are ready for a whole new graceful relationship to money. And for those of you that just want to manifest in this area without the stress and more easily, okay? So now what I'd like to do is open up to your questions. If you have questions, if you have questions, I'm ready for that. And what I should share with you, which I didn't share with you, is our starting date for the 6-week group coaching is Monday, September 2nd. Monday, September 2nd at this time. So we started nearly an hour ago. At this time, 6 Italy, 5 UK, 12 New York City. Okay, so Monday, September 2nd. Alrighty, so I'd love to take your questions, and I gotta tell you, ladies, I think I lost a lot of questions. So here we go. I think I lost a lot of questions when the internet went down. So if you have a question and you want to write into me, go ahead and do so. If you don't have a question, that's okay. But if you do, write it in here, or I will aim to unmute your line. I'm sure there's a way I can do that. But please just write in the chat box, I have a question, if you would like to come on. And the question can be anything, wherever I can support you. Lorraine, it looks like you're unmuted. Have you got a question for us?
Actually, no, I don't know how that happen. I
Oh, no
I don't really
problem.
I don't really have a question. That must have just popped off by itself.
Okay, good to see you here. Good to see you. What's your big takeaway from today's call?
Um, just relaxing and just
Mhm.
drifting into wisdom. There was a time when I had that, and I don't know what happened. I kind of slipped out of it. So, yeah, just I'm seeking that inner wisdom again, and there's a lot of relaxation around that, and like, oh wow, the concept of enjoying myself. Wow, how novel. So,
Yeah, yeah. Good. Well, Lorraine, as I've always said, that feeling of relax is what you're looking for, because without that, you're just closed down, in my opinion, to solutions. So, I love that you're feeling relaxed and I love that you're enjoying life. There's no better way. In fact, most of my experience of clients coming in and opportunities coming in happen when I'm out enjoying myself. And again, it's so innocent for people to get lost in all these thought storms about thinking more and more about where the money is going to come from, and how they're going to get the clients and where it's all going to happen and how they can't take their foot off the gas and relax. When in fact, when you really get this, and Lorena and I have worked together in the past, I know she has really touched this space. When you really touch this space, as you did, Lorraine, you go back to your default setting, which is relax. And from that place, you know, that's where our manifesting is easier. It's hard to trust that when many women have lived their lives pushing. Okay.
yeah, just the concept of, it's just really hitting me the wisdom that makes babies and oak trees. Like, wow, to put money in that category, because I've got this thing that's been running that's like, I'm bad, I'm wrong, I'm an F up because I'm not making the money I want. And like, there's just got to be something wrong with this picture, that's just can't be right. And when you said in your little video the other day that money is the mind in action or something, I just want to explore that,
Yeah.
that
Money is
money
money.
can be like that. Because money seems kind of
Mhm.
more like a punishment thing, like well, you're bad because you're not making money. There's something wrong with you. You're not tuning in. You're not doing the right thing. You're not in the right vibration. You're not the right energy. So, you know, it's just all this, if you were a good girl, you would be earning money.
Yeah.
So that's coming up for me a lot.
Well,
I'm just not.
I love that you brought this up, because this is what I hear so much, Lorraine. Money, and thank you, because it helps me to clarify the difference. Money for many women that I speak to is such a personal subject. They've made it personally wrong. If I was a good girl, then I would have more. What I hear in that is Bob. I hear, like, it's very personal. And it's not your fault, Lorraine. I've seen the marketing out there. We are being bombarded with this idea, this wave of thought that there is something wrong with you that you need to fix in order to be okay, number one, and in order to get what you want, number two. And, I really probably should be out of business because I keep telling everyone, listen, we're not looking over there, because there isn't a problem over there. You'd expect me to have no business left, wouldn't you? But the truth is, Lorraine, um, this is hopeful, because people change when they get an insight. they do not change by finding more problems to fix. And my job is to continue to help you all, particularly through this group coaching experience, to awaken to insight around this subject. And it just seems to me that this subject has more layers of personal thought involved for people. But I want to say it again, it's not your fault. You know, it's not your fault. You know, it kind of helps me see the difference in my thinking today compared to the past, because that's what I thought too. And today it looks to me like, you know, it's a very bad analogy, but today it looks to me like, oh, it'd be like waking up and saying, oh, it's raining. Oh man, it's my fault. Oh shit, oh, what did I do wrong? The rain's out today. It's like,
yeah, because
go ahead.
When you think about the acorns and embryos, that's unconditional, and that the animals have access to that. It sounds like it's a very conditional universe, this mindset thing. Like, oh, well, it can only come to you if you're like in this little tiny razor's edge thing. And I just am very interested in knowing that unconditional universe and that stream of well-being that's there. Instead of thinking that I have to do something. I can tell I'm outgrowing it, because it's starting to just go, wait a minute. If that squirrel, I mean, but they know when they need to hustle, right? My thing is I'm just always thinking I have to hustle.
Yeah. Well, listen, wisdom is proactive, but if, you know, your experience of that being pro-hustle because you're freaking out and you're panicking and you're stressing, or it can be one of a, you know, a kind of easy, in my opinion, an easy, graceful implementation. I am not saying here that there will be no action to take, just as the squirrels you mentioned have got to take the action. But what I find is, as we look in this direction, as we live from this graceful approach, our action is not scurrying in the wrong direction, right? Our action towards solution is actually gathering from this wisdom and going out and implementing without all this noise going on. We're just more effective, more productive. So that was a beautiful analogy to bring up of the squirrels, Lorraine. And yeah, to me, it really is like, yeah, money is mind in action. You know, another way to say that is money is God in action. And just as sometimes it rains and we don't wake up and say, oh, fuck, it's my fault, it's raining. Why are we waking up and saying, oh shit, it's my fault, I've no money? You know, like, come on, this is a deeper conversation, ladies. And it's innocent. It's innocent that you might have that perception that you're doing something wrong. You know, I grew up with that. I'm Catholic. I'm an Irish Catholic. Can you imagine the stories about money? Right? Like, I grew up with that. So, but you know, when they didn't know better. They didn't know better. And when we know better, we do better. So thank you for coming on, Lorraine, and thank you for sharing that. And I hope you'll join us. It'd be great to have you in the group.
Thank you, Grace.
Lovely. Charlene has raised her hand. Okay, Charlene, I hope I can unmute you, my dear. Or if you can unmute yourself, do so. Okay, hi. Charlene, go ahead.
Hi. So I don't have a question either, but I do have some takeaways, if I can share.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So I found myself resonating with pretty much everything that you've said. And I've noticed that in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I really just want to go out and have fun. Mm-hmm. And, you know, even things like content for my business, it flows more when I'm just out having fun rather than when I'm just trying to work hard. And similarly, my money has flowed too. I have never been short. And my spending priorities have shifted, because I was that girl buying the coaching and reading the books and filling my mind, as you said, with the positive affirmations, but my mind was just full. And I was also that girl making it personal. And I realized the other day, actually, that I was making my debt personal, as other people were debt free, just not me, that kind of thing.
Right.
I guess what I wanted to share was that in the area of my debt, I have found myself feeling more weightless just off of the back of this webinar. And my favorite phrase at the moment is just be. And I'm able to suspend thought. I'm able to suspend, because I used to try so hard to be positive and do all the right things and meditate 3 times a day. And you're right, it becomes work. It becomes work. And then when I didn't manifest the money on time, quote unquote, I would, beat myself up and think there was something wrong with me. But your transmission on this call, you've really helped me to just be weightless around any money that I owe. And I'm now, for the first time, I'm really not worried about it. I really feel good
That's
about,
beautiful.
yeah, I feel really good. And also, I've got a couple of programs that I've created that haven't gone live yet. In the past, I would have made it personal if I didn't sell a seat or if people weren't interested in it. And I find that the coaching out there, the encouragement is, to look at your self-worth and to look at your self-value. And I think inherently it's good advice. But for me, it got a bit distorted, because then me not getting the results became a direct result of not having enough self-value. And then that became work. You see
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it kind of just backfired for me. And now I really feel like I am everything and I am nothing at the same time. These people are coming into my programs and into my world, not because I'm some big shot, but because it's kind of got nothing to do with me, but everything to do with me at the same time. Do you know what I mean by that?
I do, Charlene. I do. I call it a kind of spiritual marketing. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's the same thing as what we're talking about here. This manifesting money and manifesting anything more easily. From that quieter place I hear you in, and I know we had a call just a couple of weeks ago, and I can even hear the difference in you today. Like from that quieter place, Charlene, and from this graceful approach. Literally, I don't know how it works. It's like a spiritual phenomenon, but you emit a different energy, which I believe just people don't know what it is about you, but they want more of you.
Exactly.
So, the serum is in, Charlene. The serum is already in. That's cool what you're sharing.
And I call it spiritual irony, the irony of spirit, to just not care in a sense. And then the money flows in, and then you care about it so much, and then you have none of it. And for me, when I think of being everything and nothing, I really feel like it's not really about me. I represent something, I resonate in a certain spiritual frequency that represents something good for people, but it's not about me and my ego and my image. And I sold, my program out. I'm such a badass. Like, God, I can't begin to tell you how much I don't like that kind of marketing, but I'm very, very pleased to kind of step out of the way and just be, and not have to feel like I have to puff myself up in order to seem bigger so that I can attract my clients, and then not feel like I have to shrink if I don't get the results.
Yeah.
I can just be, and it's a very hard thing to describe. Just, I feel like I've had, you know, when people are training with a personal trainer and they might run up a hill with a backpack full of rocks on it to, you know, improve their resistance and their training. I feel like I've had an entire bodysuit of rocks on and I've just taken all of it off.
Fabulous. Yeah, the serum is in. That's
It's
what we're talking about. Yeah, that's awesome, Charlene. Really well done.
Thank you.
It, you know, and that's it, ladies. Like what Charlene is sharing there, it is that literally that feeling of going from the backpack full of rocks to feeling weightless. And it's not that you suddenly don't care and you don't do anything. But again, it's rather that, which is not a process. And what, like, Charlene, we've had one call a few weeks ago and you're here today, and you know, the shift in you is incredible, right? Like, there's, when you're living, when you have an insight and you see deeply, everything changes. It's not that you wouldn't take action. Like Charlene has said, she's creating programs and she's going to put them out there. But it's like, it's just going to come from a totally different place. Yeah. And it's going to be received by people very differently than, you know, some illusion. You know, I've been, you know, in the early days, like I would have been so afraid to share, you know, about being on the other side of the world and what was happening to me, because I was still very caught up in the illusion that, you know, I had to appear to have all my shit together because that's what all the experts were suggesting. And, you know, the thing is, that doesn't leave room for your humanity, and people want your humanity. So thank you, Charlene.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else here got a question, got something they want to share? We have some nice comments coming in. I've got a couple of minutes left. Here we go. Okay. Charlie writes in, hi Grace, you know, this is something I struggled with for a long time. What do you hope the course will give us? Oh, okay, that's a good question. Well, Charlie, you know, I think the group coaching course is going to give each individual exactly what they need to become weightless in this area. I don't think this is going to be cookie cutter and I can tell you it's going to give you this, and this, because it's going to be very personalized to your situation. But what I can say in terms of like a general, what will the difference be, is that it will give you a means in which you can navigate this subject in a more graceful, more resilient, easier way than what your experience has been up until this point in your life. And as a result of that, for each individual, Charlie, including yourself, as a result of that, you will find that you come up with creative solutions around money more easily, that you manifest more easily, that you take action more easily. That is really what's on offer. And I can't think of a better way to transform your experience around money than that, versus, you know, sort of like Lorraine was describing, scurrying more and sort of looking in the direction of what else you need to fix. So apart from that, you know, obviously you're going to be with a group of soul sisters. I do find that the relationships between each of you deepen, and there's something about being in the same boat with others and actually letting that boat be steered by myself this time rather than your insecure thoughts. And then being together in that way that you can bounce off each other and that you can have soul sisters and community and connection around this very charged subject that, quite frankly, most people are afraid to talk about with other people. Most people are ashamed or in regret and don't want to can't talk to their partners about money. Opportunity for you to be in a safe space. So I don't want to underestimate what else this group coaching gives you. You know, that's a big part of it, is being together in this particular boat, setting sail in the direction of truth and resiliency and wisdom and opportunity and productivity and wisdom, again, solutions where money is concerned. So I hope that helps. And does anyone else have a question? I've got time for one more. Stephanie says, can you tell me again how to sign up? Yes, Stephanie, love for you to join us, Stephanie. You can sign up by simply sending me an email, gracefulcoaching@gmail.com, and just write I'm in the subject line, and I will invoice you directly. Okay, so Stephanie, if you're already in, that's slot 1 already gone. We have 7 spaces left, ladies, right? You still get the bonus of an extra call, Stephanie. So even if you've been coaching with me privately, ladies, you still get the extra call with me between now and next Monday. That's the bonus, okay? So if anyone else has a question, I'm here. Doesn't sound like you needed coaching today, ladies, which is a really good sign. Andrea writes in, this was brilliant and reminded me of a similar situation as yours in California, only not about money, but with the most aggressive person that I only looked at from a heart filled with calm and peace. For the first time, I understood the meaning of cosmic hue. To be off now. Okay, so for those of you that can't make a Monday as this particular group coaching course, you do get a replay. Okay, so a replay is always going to be available for you. If we find that Mondays really aren't working for anybody in this group, we can look at a flexibility around the time and the day, or we can alternate a little bit, okay? We'll see what the majority vote really is. Okay, thank you so much for this, says Charlene. You're so welcome. Anybody else want to come on, want to share?
Grace, if nobody else is going to say anything, I would love to hear
Go
you
ahead.
talk a little bit more. Thank you. I would love to hear you talk a little bit more about, I mean, it's just something I've never thought, like money was like this unapproachable thing, like this brass ring you couldn't get, like you had to conform and transform yourself and contort, and what Charlene was saying too was beautiful. But just if you could talk a little bit more about how money is not that. Do you know what I'm asking you? It's just a subject that's so comforting to me and like brand new that, yeah, I would just love to hear you expound a little more on that.
What's comforting about it, Lorraine?
That it's like air, that it's like oxygen, that it's like sunshine, that it shines on everybody. And if that's the case, why are so many people without it? Why are so many people bitching that they don't have it? And the weightlessness of it, I guess, is that the concept of the weightlessness of it is very comforting to me. And I would just love to hear a few more words from you on that.
Yeah.
Kind of brand new to me.
It feels brand new for you, Lorraine? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah. I might be getting an insight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let it percolate. Here's what I'm hearing and what you're sharing. You're starting to feel something new on this much charged subject. That's what we're looking for. You know, that's what we're looking for, because like you said, this is where insight and change starts to occur. You know, I think it's a subject that people are stressed and separated from. When you said earlier about, you know, why are so many people bitching that they're without it, and why are so, you know, I see people get really compelled and seduced by their insecure thoughts about money. And the more they look in that direction, the more disconnected from the means they seem to become. And then they end up in this complete loop all the time where they just, they're kind of living in that survival and that struggle. It's very innocent. The beauty of what is available here and this graceful approach is that, first of all, where this subject is concerned, and you may have spent a lifetime, you know, feeling disconnected, but you're plugging back into the mains and you're seeing more deeply, like you're starting to see, Lorraine, that comfort is available in this area, that creative solutions are available in this area. Now, that doesn't mean that it's sunny all the time. Look at the weather, look at nature. It doesn't mean we're going to be millionaires for the rest of our lives every day, all the time, right? But it does mean that you're able to gracefully navigate the storms where money are concerned. And rather than staying stuck in that loop and that cycle where you end up separated from what's available, rather than staying stuck in that, you're more quickly plugged back into the mains, where creative solutions, ideas, opportunities, people, resources start to become clear. And from that clear mind, Lorraine, you're unstoppable. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't going to be seasons of rain, right? And you know, this is the other thing I get annoyed at when I see this bombardment out there of marketing that's telling you that, you know, do this and you'll be rich forever type of thing. It's like, money, it's still part of nature, Lorraine. So there, you know, the times it's going to be flourishing and full, and like it is now, almost August, and the flowers in full bloom, nature's in full bloom, the sun's out every day. But there's going to be winter. But the difference is, when winter comes where finances are concerned, you're not going to be freaking out about winter. You're not going to be resisting winter. You're not going to be like, why is it winter? Why, like, what the hell is going on with me? What happened? What am I doing wrong that, you know, that my bank account is low, or I don't know, you know, how I'm going to pay this bill? You know, winter, right? To help you deal with all seasons where money is concerned, and to help you really enjoy and leverage more fully the abundance that is your inherent nature. And to me, Lorraine, that comes from being plugged into the mains. That comes from not being in that same insecure loop. It comes from that inner shift that is available through this direction that I continue to point you in. Is that helpful? Is that comforting?
Yeah. And my mind is going, okay, I'm just going to get real particular here. My mind is going, oh God, well, if I had a credit card, I would do that. But then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I have money saved for taxes. Maybe the 425 could come from that. And then I'm thinking, well, squirrels save up for winter though. You know, would I be wrong for doing that? But it sounds like it would be fun to take this class and to be in your energy again.
Well, when
So
are
anyway,
your taxes due?
about 9 months from now.
Okay, there's your answer. Like, that's what I don't have a lot of money rules, but I find that this one works for me. And it's like, use what you've got, but spend from wisdom. So if you're feeling that call from wisdom to join us, use what you've got. I speak to my lovely corporate clients all the time, and they to hoard and save, and that there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But I find when we're saving and hoarding for a rainy day, the rainy day comes. If we're saving and hoarding for 9 months from now, I mean, your whole world around money is subject to change within 6 weeks, never mind 9 months. So, I suppose I'm saying that freely because I'm confident about it, but I'm also kind of saying, hey, Lorraine, see what your wisdom calls you to, and you're not a squirrel. You're a human for a reason.
Well, and this is interesting because I know you say a lot to, you're looking for a feeling. And the feeling I have is just like, breeziness, how fun just to hang out with you for 6 weeks and, have a one-on-one with you. And gee, don't I deserve that? Yes, I do. And anyway, yeah.
Well, I don't think it's about deserving, because now we're back to making it personal, right? Oh, I deserve this, I don't deserve that. Oh, my spending money is based on how I feel on any given day. Do I feel good about myself today? Okay, I'll spend it. Oh, I feel bad about myself today. I'm not going to spend it, right? You see the personal in that, Lorraine, right? It's more kind of like, if you get a sense of this is going to help you transform your experience around money more deeply, and it just so happens that I can offer you that in this way at this time, then it's just like common sense. It's just like wisdom. It's just like, oh yeah, this is a nice feeling, let's go in this direction more. I think we're so educated on, well, I'll do it if it makes sense, and if I just. Did you catch that, Lorraine?
It kind of skipped. I'll do it if it makes sense, and then your video skipped a little bit. So
I think we're educated to consider, I'll do it if it makes sense and if I deserve it. But I'm saying, but you know better than that.
Yeah.
Do it and join us if you're getting a sense that this is gonna take you in the correct direction, quite possibly for the first time.
Yeah, definitely is going to take me in the right direction, and it just feels expansive and fun.
Yeah.
So you'll be hearing from me. Thank you.
Okay, great, Lorraine. Thanks for asking your questions today. All right, ladies. So I'm going to close there, and I appreciate you all being here and sharing your wisdom. I don't know who admin is, but a nice message. Thank you for you and your wisdom, and the group of amazing women. Thank you for lightening the energy around money. So that's good. So I'm going to close here, ladies, and there will be the replay. Feel free to share the replay with anyone you know who is struggling in this area. Okay, feel free to share that and do so. And stay in touch via our messenger group and our Facebook group, and of course my email list. It's been lovely to be with you, ladies, and don't forget you can email me on gracefulcoaching@gmail.com. Write the subject line "I'm in," or if you have a question, if you still kind of feel like, oh Grace, I need to know something else about this group coaching before I'm definitely in, write me, okay? Write me and I'll respond. Lots of love, ladies. Ciao.